the way this has resonated on a profoundly emotional level with so many people, and especially with queer audiences, seeing their lives depicted in a world where, as you've talked about this a lot, without judgment, without bigotry. And I'm curious, like, when you started, do you remember when you started to receive that from the audience, to feel that kind of connection and resonance?
I think it was, well, I think it started after the season finale of season 2, when the family says "I love you" to each other for the first time. And it took like 26 episodes to get them to say "I love you," but that's how long it took. And I think there was something in that moment that was kind of revelatory for people in realizing that this family that they've come to kind of know is growing, and that there's hope for them. And I think in those early days, people were writing about their own families and how that moment offered hope, whether they had troubles in their family, whether they hadn't spoken to relatives, whether there was kind of fractures. And that was the first time that I started reading letters. And then, of course, once Noah came into the show, and once we started to explore the relationship between David and Patrick, and that, of course, cracked open a whole other conversation, which, to be perfectly honest, I was not expecting. Genuinely, because I just wanted to write a relationship that spoke to my own experience. I wanted to write myself a story that was hopeful.
Growing up, had you seen any examples that felt
No.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that.
Yeah. Well, that's telling.
Nothing that
that's
felt
telling that you
nothing.
have to dig that deep.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Nothing that felt. I think about a movie like Maurice, for example, but then again, it's fraught with sadness and loneliness and people not being themselves. Right. So no, I don't. I don't. I will probably think of something. I'll think of a handful the minute we stop talking.
Right.
But for now, no. I nothing that was relaxed and easy and flawed and not met with violence.
Yeah. So if it's not there, create it. Create
kind of
the world that you.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had the opportunity. I knew that we were likely not going anywhere. We were in a very lucky situation where I knew that we were likely going to be able to tell this story for as long as we could, because it was of value to the places that were keeping it on air. We were the big fish in the small pond.
Yeah.
And what a lucky thing. So, yeah, it wasn't even a risk because I didn't think of it that way. But I did know that there was a story I wanted to tell that likely couldn't have been told on network television in America.